What are you doing in my kitchen? Is it Thursday already? Huh. Okay, let's do a show. Okay, so now that I know what day of the week it is, I'm going to continue and agree to do my show today. If you agree to ignore this pimple that decided to show up this morning at the ripe old age of 52 years old, I'm told it's called maskne. Is that right, Sierra? It's maskne. Is that right?
That's right.
Whatever, we're going to carry on. Okay, so today's a great show. We are going to, first I'm going to talk about and review my new favorite protein drink. And it's delicious, and it's going to be a quick segment. And then you're going to meet my nutritionist, Callie, today. And I am really excited that she's agreed to be on the show. And then the last thing I'm going to do today is make something very delicious and very simple. It can be breakfast or dessert. What will it be? You'll see. Hey, so I'm here with my new friend and pimple, aptly named Karen, and we are going to show you my favorite new protein drink. It's so good. And my friend Jody, who you met, referred me to it, turned me on to it rather, and it's delicious. I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. It has sucralose in it, but I don't care because it's really, really good, okay? So first of all, here are my favorite flavors. I have chocolate, I have wild grape, and strawberry. This is chocolate fudge and strawberry mousse. And the chocolate tastes like chocolate quick, and the strawberry one tastes like strawberry quick. And don't act like you didn't like Nestle's chocolate quick and the strawberry quick, because if not, you're a weirdo. Anyway, so, and then also, so I have a selection for you. What I did, and by the way, I got these on Amazon. What I did is I ordered a sampler box, and they have that on Amazon, and it's very affordable. I think it boils down to about $1 and change a packet. And they send you a sampler of all of their flavors. So it's great. You can try all of them. You can mix water with some of them, like the fruitier ones, or I like putting almond milk or almond coconut milk in the ones that are meant to be a little bit more of a creamier base. But the key to this protein drink is it doesn't get thick. You know how some protein drinks are a little like viscous and like the mouth feels a little bit heavy? These stay thin like chocolate milk or strawberry milk. And I like the grape one because it tastes like that pretty sugary, horrible drink that we used to drink when we were kids, that grape drink, and it tastes just like that, and I love it. So I'm gonna mix one up for you right now, and we're gonna see how it goes. And I wanna take a moment to point out a couple things to you. So when you have bariatric surgery, you can no longer drink with a straw. I know, it's gonna be a big adjustment for me, but it's okay. That's why I'm starting now. And I love these Camelback containers. This is a 20-ounce one, and it fits perfectly in your car cup holder. So that if you wanna take one of these to go, especially if you grab a packet and you're running out the door, you've got your mixer bottle with the ball right here. And the ball comes separately, and again, sold on Amazon. Isn't everything sold on Amazon, basically? So this is what you use. And then also, I have them for water because I can't drink out of my straw acrylic cups anymore. And they come in colors, but I like the clear one for my smoothies because then I can obviously see what flavor it is very clearly. So I'm going to make the chocolate one for you. I use almond milk, like I said, or this is actually an almond coconut blend, both of these. I tend to like that. It tastes a little bit richer to me without the calories, but obviously use whatever you like. You can use skim milk, whatever works for you. Okay, so I'm gonna make you this one first. It says it's chocolate truffle, but again, it basically tastes like chocolate milk. And hello, who doesn't love chocolate milk? So here we go. So here's a little tip. Whenever you're making powdered smoothies, or powdered protein drinks rather, the powder gets stuck at the bottom if you put the powder in first. So I always put a little bit of the liquid. I was gonna say fluid. That sounds weird. I don't know about you, but I end up getting protein powder everywhere. So a little hack for you is I use a little funnel, again, also on Amazon. And I basically avoid getting that powder everywhere, okay? So we're done with that, and we've got our little milk in there already. Now, it says to use 8 ounces, but I eyeball it. I mean, just because I actually like a little more liquid, because they tend to be very sweet to me. Believe it or not, for me. The sweet tooth, who knew? So I just eyeball it. I mean, that's about maybe 8 to 10 ounces, right? A little bit more. Okay. Then you want to make sure, of course, that you have your lid on correctly, because of course I've learned the hard way when you don't. Clean up in aisle 4. And then it says, and it's very good to do so because it stays kind of clotted, is you got to shake it for like 30 seconds, okay? So shake, 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 shake your booty, shake your booty. I saw Casey and the Sunshine Band at the House of Blues right after 9/11. And let's just say I wasn't drinking protein drinks. Okay, so completely mixed, ready to go. Have a nice little glass here. You can drink it right out of this though. Again, that's why it's great to take on the road if you need to go somewhere and get somewhere quick. There's 23 grams of protein. Not all of them have the same protein amount, but this one does, and it's delicious. It's literally, I don't know how they do it. It's literally chocolate milk, and it's really, really good. And I just want to point out, they have fruity flavors. They have all kinds of flavors. They have, there's like vanilla, of course, it's called vanilla tort, but it's basically vanilla. They have, this one's really good. This is vanilla latte. Literally tastes like a Starbucks latte, and it's very, very good. And then the fruity ones are more clear, and you would obviously mix them with water, although you can mix this pina colada one with some almond milk, and I bet that's really good. This is my new favorite protein drink. I'll be reviewing others on future episodes, but for right now, I really wanted you to know about this one. It's great, and it's not only great, again, if you're a bariatric patient, even if you're just watching your weight or if you're an athlete, it's just a really, really good go-to protein drink. So today's guest is my nutritionist. Her name is Callie. And when you're preparing for bariatric surgery, there are mandatory nutrition classes. Depending on your insurance, I have 6 that I have to take. The first 2 classes are 2 hours long, and the very first one is all about nutrition and basically getting your mindset into eating well and getting ready before the surgery to get into good shape. And when I met her, I mean, you know how some practitioners or doctors, you know, when you like them, it makes such a huge difference. And Callie is like that for me. She's great. We clicked. We have a really good rapport. And I want you to meet her. So let's meet Callie. Hi, Callie.
Hello.
I'm so happy to have you.
No, I'm so happy as well.
Oh, so good. It's so good to see your face.
Yes, I know.
Every time we meet with our man. Like, oh, who are you? So, you know, the wonderful thing about having you on today is to, you know, you led the first 2-hour class that I ever took with the program. And it was great. It was like, you know, stuff a lot of people know, but, you know, you don't really realize you really need to, you know, follow. And it just, the key was the good nutrition, of course, and how we're going to be eating, how we need to be eating before the surgery. So, you know, why is it so important, even though it might be obvious, to eat well before bariatric surgery?
Right. So I think the simple answer to that is really just preparing and improving your body. That way we can really reduce the risk of complications. So just touching base on how you attended the first 2-hour class. And that is really the basis of the entire program that you will go through. So what we talked about was really 6 different healthy habits. That includes incorporating all 5 food groups, really trying to increase your water intake, exercising as much as possible, really trying to read the nutrition labels, and then as well as eating. So eating at least 3 meals per day. So, you know, you can probably attest that you're skipping meals, or you were skipping meals prior to this, because we think that when we skip meals, we lose weight. But that is actually the opposite. So we really work together to improve those healthy habits, and it's not going to happen overnight. That's why it's a process. That's why you've been following up with me for the last few months, and you know, you come weekly, which is really important. And I tell you, you know, don't try to focus on all 6 different healthy habits. Try to focus on one. Once you master one, then you can continue to build on top of those. And you've done a really great job. But like I said, the simple answer to that is to really prepare your body for this huge change, this huge lifestyle change.
Yeah, it's been really great, and it feels good because I know I'm doing something that is just going to also, it's going to make my surgery safer.
Right,
Um, and I had that little setback when I didn't know I had mild sleep apnea,
right.
and now it's pushed back. But I remember, at first I felt like it was a little like, oh, and then I realized, wait, it gives me more time to prepare. It gives me more time to be really ready, so that that transition after the surgery will just be so much smoother. And one of the things that's been really key, and it's something I know, but I've dropped the ball on up until now, is eating more whole grains. And that's been something I've really been focusing on, and avoiding, the processed carbs like bread and or white breads. And talk a little bit about that, because that's always something that you don't think about, but the whole grains are so important.
Yes, so whole grains are 100% important. Most people are afraid of carbohydrates. And I will say, post operatively, carbohydrates are going to be at the very bottom of the totem pole. You will constantly hear us talking about protein, which I know from your first two episodes, you've really hit on that a lot. But as far as carbohydrates go, that is actually what fuels your body. So we've been, like you said, we've been working on that, really trying to at least incorporate one carbohydrate per meal, and even with snacks. And you mentioned carbohydrates just as a whole grain, but it's also fruits and starchy vegetables as well.
Right.
So people don't even realize that fruits are considered carbs as well as starchy vegetables. And with whole grains, there's lots of fiber. It's less processed. It's less likely to spike your blood sugar compared to the refined grains, like you said, like white bread and white pasta, even cakes and cookies. All of those addictive foods that it there's lots of sugar, and they're very processed and no nutritional value to them.
Yeah, it's been tricky, but there's so many better products out there now than there used to be. I even discovered some really good, there's even black bean pasta and red lentil pasta, and I don't know if that's really I call it kosher, so to speak, for what but I feel like that's at least moving in a better direction. And eating, I've been really focusing on eating better grain breads, or no bread at all, just to kind of get ready, because you don't realize, well, I guess you do when you go out to eat and you fill up on the bread basket, but that bread takes up so much space in your stomach. And I just feel so much better when I just eat a lean protein and a good amount of vegetables, and a minimal amount of a carb, or like a really good one like a sweet potato. Like, I literally feel better. And it's so funny because you do it and you think, why don't I eat like this all the time? I feel better. But we get into that, the mindless eating of just filling ourselves with the pastas and all of that stuff. And it's not easy.
Right. And that's that's another thing that we talk about, is really trying to choose those whole foods versus the processed foods. Really trying to, when you're buying packaged products, looking at how many ingredients, seeing if you can even pronounce the names
Right.
of the ingredients, reading the nutrition labels, looking at the percent daily values. If you see a percentage that's 20% fat, this is a very highly processed food.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, a lot of people don't realize that when you look at the ingredients list, the things that are the most quantity are listed first.
Right.
So if you don't see the main, like, let's say it's a product that's for, chicken, for example. I don't know if that's maybe a weird example, but if chicken isn't one of the first three ingredients, put it down. Or maybe that's a silly example, but that's always key.
I think too, like for example, whole grains. So, you leave that first nutrition class, you need to make all of your whole grain switches, instead of doing a regular Ritz cracker, for example, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this whole grain Ritz cracker instead of the regular. Well, then, it says you're shopping and you see on that shelf, you see whole grain or whole wheat on there. You pick it up without even looking at the ingredient list. But then when you get home, you look at the ingredient list, and the first ingredient is enriched flour,
Hmm.
not even a whole grain cracker.
You're like,
So,
sprinkle the little whole grains in there just to
yeah,
kind
just
of like be able to say whole grain. trickery. It's trickery. Those processed foods is what it is. It's trickery. I learned that as a Weight Watcher, but it's something that I've lost. So being able to come and talk with you on a weekly or bi-weekly basis it's just kept me on track, and it's going to keep me on track. And I know after the surgery, we won't be talking probably as much, but I know you're there. Like you even said, if I have a question or a problem, I can reach out to you. And it's just, another layer of the support and accountability that I keep saying, because that is key,
And just touching on the follow-up plan after surgery. So you actually will see me quite a bit. So I will come to the hospital, see you in the hospital, make sure that, you're feeling comfortable about the diet progression. We do give you a 30-day meal plan. I think we talked about that.
Yep.
But you follow up at 1 week, 1 month post-op, 3 months post-op, 6 months, 9 months, at a year.
I'm going to need to see you more than that. I'm just saying.
If you would like to come monthly,
I'm not going to be like 3 months. That's not enough.
We can make that happen.
I don't want to get needy or anything like that, but I just feel like that's a long gap. So much happens in 3 months, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not trying to be a big baby about this. I'm just saying that I will want the, I don't know, just to be able to check in with you. But again, I don't want to be high maintenance either. So we'll find a balance that works,
Yeah. So I do want to, really tell you that I'm very proud of you for going through this process, because it is tough, emotionally, mentally, physically. And a lot of people do not support bariatric surgery. Like you mentioned earlier, they say it's the easy way out, but I do want to mention that it's not at all. You still have to work hard. You still have to maintain those 6 healthy habits that you learned from the very first day that you started the program. And I do want to say a little bit about how it helps. So not only does it help treat the disease obesity, it helps to treat other conditions like GERD or acid reflux, diabetes, hypertension. Not only does it help treat those conditions, but it also helps with just simply achieving everyday life activities, doing chores such as cleaning the house, without being out of breath, walking from point A to point B without being out of breath. It allows you, so much more opportunity in life. So I really am proud of you for going through this process, and I'm here for your support.
Yeah, it was a big step, and it was something I really thought through very, very, I weighed everything about it. And I'm morbidly obese. It's not an easy 2 words to say, folks. It's rough to even hear, and the comorbidities, I have hypertension, I have high blood pressure, I have high cholesterol, which isn't necessarily weight related, but it very often is. And thank God I don't have diabetes yet. My mom had diabetes, my brother has diabetes, and I just felt like I could see that coming. It was something that, and I just don't want that. I don't want to be ill, and I'm getting older, and I've got stuff to stick around for, so, but thank you. And thank you so much for coming on. It just was such a bonus. I get Callie, this is great. So thank you. And I believe I see you in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Matchmaker, make me some food. Make me some food. Please make me some food. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to make you something from my childhood. It's basically something I grew up with, but I've taken it to the next level. And if my family's watching and if they remember eating this is going to be like, oh my God, I didn't think of this. Okay. So as we just talked about with Callie, we need to eat whole grain breads, if bread at all, especially right now while I'm preparing for surgery, right? So here are a couple breads that I want to introduce you to if you don't already know about them. This one is Ezekiel bread. You probably have heard of it. This is the cinnamon raisin version, and you'll meet the sesame seed version in a little bit. And this is Dave's Killer whole grain bread, and I really like Dave. His breads are really good, and they also are just very, very good for you. And both of these breads have a lot of protein in them as well, okay? So I'm going to make what we used to call, or I think we used to call as a kid, Russian cheesecake. And I don't really know if that was really what it's called, but I'm Russian. My mom's side of the family's Russian. Could come from the old country, I don't know. But it's something that I used to eat all the time. So I'm gonna throw a couple of these in the toaster, and then we're going to make our topping. And this is so simple, you're not even gonna believe it. And especially if you like sweet things for breakfast, this is gonna be your jam because it is very, very good, so healthy. So the original version of this is very simply putting low-fat cottage cheese on toast and drizzling honey on top of it, okay? 1 teaspoon of honey has 7 grams of sugar, so you could still do that, and it's still delicious. I would also add a little cinnamon on top, which we're gonna do in just a minute, but I've taken it to the next level, and here's how, okay? So first of all, I'm gonna take about a cup of, there's our toast, about a cup of cottage cheese. Again, I'm an eyeballer, so I kind of know how much a cup is, right? But of course you can measure. That's about a cup right there. Okay. Now, I have a packet of stevia. You can use Splenda, whatever sweetener you like. Okay. 1 whole packet goes in there. Again, that's about the equivalent of 2 teaspoons of sugar. And then we have vanilla. Now, for those of you watching, if you're of the older generation, this is kind of a big gun vanilla. This is Watkins vanilla. We had a Watkins man when I was a kid, and so when I see this in a store or online, I always grab a bottle of it. It's very, very good vanilla. And of course, there's organic vanilla, which I have on hand. You want to use good vanilla extract. You don't want to use imitation. You always want to use, especially when we're doing what we're doing, if you're watching your weight, you want to use good quality spices and flavors so that you're getting the most that you can, especially when you're trying to zhuzh stuff up, okay? I like that word zhuzh, sorry. I know it's probably old, but I like it. So here we go. So now a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Wow, that was too much. It's okay. Crisis averted. Here you go. And then you just mix it up. So now you basically have made like kind of like a poor man's or poor woman's cheesecake. Nice and incorporated.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I've got my plate. Got my nice warm toast. This one's down a little low. So now I just did this to show you 2 options. And then I like to do a little dash of cinnamon, especially on the raisin one. Just a little sprinkle, not too much, because it's bitter otherwise. And there you go. Okay, and we're gonna taste this one in just a minute, because now I'm gonna make basically this one's delicious cousin, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna use basically the sesame seed crusted version of that cinnamon raisin bread. Again, very good sprouted grain bread. Okay, I'm gonna throw one in the toaster. We're just gonna do one of these because this one's a little more rich. Okay, so now we have ricotta cheese, or as my Italian friends say, ricotta. Okay, that's how they say it, for real. So we're gonna take, again, this time we're gonna do a smaller amount. You don't need as much, it's richer. So basically we're gonna make a cannoli toast. And I've heard there's recipes out there for a cannoli stuffed French toast, and there's no room for that in my diet, but this is a really delicious alternative, and it's yummy. So first thing we're gonna do is, same thing, we're gonna add a packet of stevia. Again, use whatever you want. Same thing, vanilla, okay? 1/2 teaspoon of that. And by the way, I did what was the equivalent of about 1/2 cup of ricotta. Okay, mix that up, but it's gonna get even better. Also, just so you know, this is actually delicious just like this. My husband's mom used to be on the South Beach diet, and they have a dessert that's basically this, and you just eat it with a spoon. And I can attest that it's very good. Now, the final pièce de résistance. Mini chocolate chips. Now I know it doesn't sound very low-cal, but it really isn't that big of a deal. We're not going to be putting 10 tons of chocolate chips in here. In fact, I'm just going to, again, eyeball it, but you're going to put the equivalent of about a tablespoon in. It's not a lot. If you're at a point in your diet where you can't have it at all, then you can skip it. It's still delicious without the chocolate chips, but I'm going to do it just because it's good. And now we're going to mix that up. Now just fold them in, mix it up. I didn't put many in there, you can see that. just adds a nice little bite. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab my plate. I could have gotten a smaller plate, but too late. And here's a piece of toast. And we're gonna go for it. That might be too much. I went a little overboard, but you get the idea. And then just smear it around. Now, you could add a sprinkle of cinnamon on this one too, as some cannolis do have. I'm gonna leave this one plain. And now to round out the meal, I personally love it with fresh fruit, especially because it's breakfast. So I have here some delicious Honeycrisp apples because 'tis the season. And not to rub it in, but these are fresh figs from our fig tree. If you have room to plant a fig tree, I highly recommend it. They are delicious and they grow really easily. And I have some fresh blueberries. And I'm gonna rinse these off and I'll be right back. Okay, I rinsed this apple. I have a shortcut, a cheater. Of course, I know how to cut and peel, or rather cut and slice an apple, but to save time, I have my little thing, which is great. It's also kind of good for aggression. Gets a little something out there. Okay. Now for the apples, I would put them right on the plate. They kind of go with the cottage cheese in my mind. So you got a couple nice chunks, right? Put one more on there. And I also, you can either drizzle a tiny bit of honey, but again, you gotta watch your sugar. So put a little tiny bit of cinnamon or not, whatever you like. Okay, just a dusting, nothing too major. And then I've got some nice blueberries to go with the ricotta. Put them in here. I've got my little tiny little colander. So then you've got the blueberries that go with this nice ricotta, the cannoli toast, okay? Then I've got these fresh figs. Again, don't be jealous, but be a little jealous. They're very, very good. And every day we have fresh. I just took the, well, actually you don't have to take the tips, the little stems off, but I'll take them off. And then we can just slice them and add those to the plates. Oh, look how beautiful. Can you see that? See how beautiful they look? And they're so good. I should just make sure. And there you have it. I mean, very, very healthy breakfast, and now we'll try them. We've got our figs.
Something over here. No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's try. I have a spoon because the cottage cheese one gets a little loosey-goosey, so you'll need it just to maybe scoop up some of the cottage cheese. But I'm just gonna actually cut this one in half because it's a little hard to manage as a whole big piece. And I'm gonna try this cinnamon raisin one. Oh yeah. Very good. Very, very good. And now this ricotta, or rather, sorry, cannoli. I just like saying ricotta. We're gonna taste this straight up one piece. Yup. So now you've taken what would be very, sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full, would be very boring, dry, sprouted grain, whole grain toast and turned it into something yummy. And that's the whole key, is finding clever ways to make the food that we're supposed to be eating palatable and something that you're gonna want. And there you have it. You know, breakfast is, first of all, it's one of my favorite meals, even though I don't eat breakfast a lot, funnily enough. But when I want breakfast, you want something good, and you get bored with the same old thing over and over again. And also, we really shouldn't be eating all of those highly sugary, like pancakes and waffles and French toast, even though I know they're delicious, and once in a while is one thing. But this is something that is, these are go-to dishes that are just, you can have this stuff. A lot of these cheeses stay for a long time in your refrigerator, and you can whip it up with a very quick, with quick notice, and you have something really good. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the protein drinks, and of course meeting my nutritionist, because she's going to be with me like we talked about the whole time, and enjoyed making some of these delicious things.